and this is Self-Made.
Hi, I'm Nathalie with a TH. I am the co-founder of Saya.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a first-time business owner and the co-founder of Saya.
And I am Quark. I'm a filmmaker, creative executive, and a co-founder of Saya.
Woo.
What is Saya?
Saya.
By the way.
Saya is
Saya's-
many things.
yeah.
Like I love the word Saya. I think in different, languages like Tagalog, Malay, Bahasa Indonesia, which is I guess similar. And someone told me it means something in Hindi and Japanese as well. But for me, it's like thinking about the notion of the self. Because Saya in Malay and in Tagalog,
It's Saya.
Saya or
Which is-
Saya.
Yeah.
Like skirt.
Yes.
Skirt, so I think movement,
Yeah.
womanhood, that. And then Saya, happiness. So I think it encapsulates, our values, like what we want to bring to businesses, brands, and people, about like Saya, like the notion of the self. And it's really important, for you to grow, like having that understanding of yourself.
Yeah. And so right now, Saya has many things. One of the things Saya is it's a blog. You get to read articles. We have a lot of editorials, videos, and our podcast, this podcast called Self-Made. So Self-Made is for entrepreneurs, creatives, and marketers at heart. Our discussions will examine and challenge the current status quo of work, how one might navigate it through the diverse experience and opinions shared by our hosts and guests. Creative, entrepreneurial powerhouses and rising stars who've been there, done that, or in Filipino slang, been there, been that, and are still pursuing their calling. To quote Aerosmith, life's a journey, not a destination. And we're all here to find out what it takes to be self-made.
Can you fact check? This is really from Aerosmith first.
This is, do you know Aerosmith?
I do
Michelle?
know Aerosmith.
when I realized when
What
that song
do
came
you
out, this is wild. When that song came out, Michelle was born.
Did it really? I thought we
Yeah.
were not talking about agents.
No, now people have to research.
seen
I
Armageddon?
really like Armageddon.
Oh, there
and
you go.
I really
Have you
like
seen
Don't
Armageddon?
Want to Miss a Thing, Liv Tyler,
Liv
come on,
Tyler,
Bruce
of
Willis.
I'm trying
Yes.
to remember the song. I can remember the way it sounds. Life's a journey, not a destination. Anyway. So,
We love it.
yes. So, first things first. What are we doing here and why are we all together? What's going on? Like, why is this podcast
Why are
happening?
we all together?
You kind
We
of
got
brought
the
it all
Avengers
together.
So,
Yeah, no, I was actually thinking that, first meetings, I met Quark, I was 17 or 18. So it was a couple of decades ago. But it was like a casual introduction. I didn't really know him that well.
do you
know?
remember us meeting?
Yes. Because
Oh.
so many people. It's like first year of college. And I
Yeah.
think it was one of those everybody knew Quark.
I was nominated for batch. Do they call it batch here in Singapore? Like your class,
prefects?
your year of when
Your
you're in the
school
same
year,
year.
like you're in the same batch. Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
right?
Isn't
Boy
it?
of the Year.
Yeah, no, I was nominated like a batch gossip.
Oh, really?
Boy Abunda Award. Filipinos are
Boy
listening
Abunda,
will know who
wow.
Boy Abunda is, but he's like the
But everybody knew Quark,
So yeah, and then we reconnected many X years later.
Yes, I think you came back on the radar when you started working at your
Yeah.
previous company.
Yes.
Can you
So-
mention those companies
Yeah, I think
here?
you can mention. So
Amazon.
I moved to Singapore
Yeah.
for Amazon.
Yes.
And then I think you were working with us,
was
but with a
working with-
different team.
Yes.
Yeah, and
With a social team.
yes. So and then
Mm-hmm.
I think when Amazon Studios kind of stopped operations here, you reached out thankfully, and we
Yes.
had a nice, lovely
Yeah.
coffee in 1880.
Yeah, and I was telling you about the idea of Saya, and I think it was still, I was still on garden leave, still evolving, but Michelle, I met you over a year ago now, but it feels like longer.
Yeah.
How ingrained she is, like even in like my family conversations.
A literal work wife, right? So you met where?
So I joined my previous company, and that's where Nathalie and I met. We were in the same team. It really was just two of us, and there was one more other. But we were the ones killing it at work, making it rain, working really hard together.
Peas in a pod. We spoke the same language, I think, from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it became really clear that like this is someone that also understands how I think and how business should be run. So there were a lot of synergies that we enjoyed at work. But it was only really like later on that, well, she was always like a sharer. But for me, I'm like, well, I'm a private,
Yes.
like I withhold information about my days or my
Yeah.
nights. But eventually just got to the point where, okay, this is everything. This is all of me. You
She
can
was
have
so
it all.
professional. There's like the Michelle, and she'll
Yeah.
only talk about work. Even when could be annoyed about someone at work, she wouldn't share. Where I'm like, fuck this person, like.
I know,
But,
we're
yeah.
chipping away, yeah. But yeah, what brings us together, you mentioned it already, it's Saya. You said that one of the aspects is the blog, is the website. So
Yeah.
this podcast is one of those aspects. There are going to be videos, there are going to be articles, editorials, etc. Basically examining this particular topic, which is how to make it today, how to hustle in a world, in this creative entrepreneurial world that is ever changing and actually probably changing faster in the past few months than ever, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that brings us to our very first topic: beginnings.
Beginnings.
Yeah.
I love beginnings.
Yeah.
So many kinds of beginnings, like how we got here,
Yeah.
something that we also learned, the many resets in our lives. Right? So what was your idea of beginnings when you were younger? Like, was it kind of like, this is my beginning and, life is going to be like a movie, a 3-act structure, or did you know that there would be starts and stops?
I think for me, beginnings were always like I think back to college days where, you would go on semester breaks. Like you break off for the summer and then you come back. And there was a very, very obvious, like, okay, the start of the new semester or the start of the new school term always just means that opportunity to reinvent yourself or to reflect back on what you've done and like kind of what you want to bring to the rest of that year. So for me, like every year is always marked by like that one thing, that one new thing, that one new person, that one new book, or that one new track. So I do associate like beginnings, like growing up with something new and something different from what I've done before or like what I've known before.
And you, Nah?
Yeah, I guess it's like starting something new. But I thought when I first started, I guess, in my professional career, that you go from here, marketing executive, end goal, I'm a CMO. And it was that industry, and it wasn't really until, yes, after my first job, that now actually, since my first job, I've always pivoted. And I feel like, okay, I've learned whatever I wanted from here. I'll pivot. I didn't even realize then that it was not the way.
Yeah.
That agency people just say agency people. If you're this, for me, I started in media planning and then I went to publishing. I freelanced for a little bit, creative agency, moved to Indonesia. So I feel like, yeah, it is always pivoting, but there is that common thread. It was always, okay, how to grow a business.
No, I think like like you, I kind of had like this like trajectory basically that beginning, it's beginning and then your life is the middle and maybe right before you retire, that's kind of like the end, that it would kind of like go through a path and slowly you kind of like realize, oh my gosh, life's really not like that. Sometimes you just have to reset, sometimes you have to kind of like turn around and kind of like reboot everything, and until now, right, we're still going through a lot of beginnings. So
Yeah, and it can be scary. I think there's a lot of people who choose to get stuck in mediocre situations because for fear of beginning or starting over. And I think, it's something that we want to talk more about or uncover, like how do we help people prepare for that? Like, so you're set up to not put up with shitty situations,
Yeah.
right? Like there has to be a way, because I've seen like, from bad marriages, obviously bad work situation, a lot of those. But they just get stuck, and next thing you know, 10 years you're still there and just hating every day of your life.
Yeah.
Well, Michelle, you had a very interesting beginning because I remember you took up history, I think, right?
Yeah, I really did.
So, I mean, did you have a like, I'm going to be a historian, I'm going to go there? Or was it something like, I don't know what I want to do, this sounds fun?
Yeah. So with the theme of beginnings, I think like, and my love for history, it just was something that I've always loved. I graduated in the first batch of Southeast Asia's first ever liberal arts college. And I've loved history all my life because of the stories and like different narratives. It was just so interesting for me. It didn't feel like studying. It didn't feel like I had to memorize. The shitty stuff was history.
Did you have to memorize dates?
Shitty stuff was chemistry. I did have to remember dates, but it just
Okay.
comes like naturally because of like the entire story, right? And so I honestly, it's a pet peeve when people are like, "You're a history major, like you read history, like why are you doing what you're doing now?" And I'm like, doesn't it make sense? Because history is all about storytelling, it's about sense making, it's about understanding how we came to be, and it's tying up all these different like loose ends and threads. And where I am today, I do the same for people, right? Essentially, like when I meet with a client, it's me asking them like, what's your story yourself, like as an individual, but what's your story also like as a business? And then trying to figure out, okay, where are we trying to get to, or what are past lessons that we've learned? So there is a very, I would say like social element in terms of understanding a story, whether it happened before or whether it's about to happen. So that's where I see it.
And you mentioned earlier, Nathalie, that it was always CMO. That was kind of like
I thought, yes, sort of.
But so kind of like, you moved from the Philippines, you moved to New York.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, even that, right? Like, so I'm from a family of politicians. I thought first, okay, fine. I thought I was going to be a governor of my province in the Philippines.
Wait, what is your course? In
Political science.
Oh, nice.
I was going, yes, I thought that was my path. So then moved to America. So it was November I moved, but right away I landed in New York. I was like, this is home. I love the banter. And then I realized I have to find a job. I'm like, I've never worked before a day in my life. I didn't have a college degree. It's like, what do I do? It was a job interview. It was my mom's friend's friend. There was an opening for a receptionist at a media buying agency. Yeah, this wasn't the career I wanted, but I went in for an interview. They hired me on the spot. 2 months after I started, I was an account executive.
Love that.
So I was like, this is America.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. So, and then you pivoted to journalism, right? Or was
Publishing.
Publishing.
And then after 3 years of media planning, and this was before online media buying.
Yeah.
So it got boring for me. It's like, what to do next? I interviewed at a publishing company, a startup magazine, like luxury gambling lifestyle magazine, because this was during the poker boom.
Wow. What was it called? I don't know.
Player. It was called Player.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Yes. I like that. And I think beginnings are really closely tied to opportunities also, right? Like being able to see and, actually latch on to like, this is something I want to do. Like, this is a change I want to make. And it becomes a way of viewing like, okay, like this is actually something I'm just going to jump in and like dive into. But the converse is that you're afraid of it. You're just waiting for the right opportunity, but there never is a right opportunity. It's just, for me, it's what you make out of it and turn it into, a fresh start or that new beginning, that next chapter.
Yeah, I think there's it's really underrated, or I guess like like luck, how much luck actually figures
Ah,
into
yeah.
Yes.
the whole
yes.
thing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, the good thing is that you have to be like super prepared and super ready for when it happens. But a lot of the time, it's really like suddenly it just presents itself.
Yeah. Yes.
It- pretty much every job offer I've had just came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and like, am I ready for this? And I wanted to talk about also like eureka moments. Like, for example, I grew up really wanting to tell stories. I just knew, like, when I was a kid, like, I loved reading, I loved drawing, I loved everything, and consuming media. And I knew I wanted to tell stories. I just didn't know what, right? So, I was a big comic fan. So, like, maybe I should get into comics, but I couldn't draw for shit. And so it's like, oh, maybe I can be a novelist. But I wasn't, I'm actually not a great reader. Like, it takes me forever to read a book. So I started on many, many books. I've never finished one. So I'm
Okay.
like, the imposter syndrome there in terms of like being a novelist. And I'm like, so what do I do? What do I do? And then I saw Pulp Fiction.
Oh, cutie.
Yeah, and basically like when I watched it, I fell in love with the storytelling. I fell in love with like how immediate it all felt, and the twists and turns. But also, I think more importantly, I could feel the love oozing through the screen. Like these guys had a good time.
Yeah.
Like, and it was collaborative, and it was super. Energetic, and watching the behind the scenes, everybody was just going to work, being really excited, and that was kind of like my eureka moment where I'm like, okay, I want to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys have that at any point in your lives where it's like, ta-da, this is where I'm meant to be?
No.
Same.
Same. No, I think, what Michelle was saying, it comes like opportunities. Oh, there's an opportunity. Do I do it? Or do I stay? And it's like, oh, fuck it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I'll see it through.
Yeah.
I think in a way though, I really did not want to feel this way because I was like, I'm a strong, independent woman. But when I became a mom, it was really like, because I guess you guys knew, like, I did not want kids. But then once I was like, holy shit, I'm meant to be raising humans, but I'm not giving up my job. But, it was, to me, it's like that being a mom gave me just like so much more. And yeah, like I guess a different purpose in life.
Yeah.
And I resisted it because, yeah, at that time, my thinking was still, if you love being a mom, you're not doing good in your career.
In terms of opportunity, Michelle, like you have been presented with many different opportunities that kind of like turned you different directions. Like, what do you remember something that was significant?
Do you know what's crazy? I think like through it all, and I came to this realization because I was trying to write like my LinkedIn bio in the About Me section, and I've done like a ton of research and like successful LinkedIn bios. The most successful ones, the most like memorable ones are, they talk about how this person came to be and like why they're different. And I think for me, opportunities, I always just find myself in day zero teams. Even landing up in like Yale and US, completely day zero. We built the school from scratch. The school was literally building like when we were studying and like living there. Started out as like a freelance strategist like somewhere, and then a couple months later they're like, okay, like we're gonna convert you. So all these different opportunities that I've identified all happen to be from people that wanted to do something different within their companies and were like, I think that you could do it. And I'm like, yeah, shit, I think I could do it. So there's equal part like blind faith, but there's also a whole like, why the hell not? And I think that has been a spirit that I carry with me. So I do look at life as like, this is an opportunity and like, this is not. I do see things in that way. And decision making comes really naturally, whereby, is this going to value add to what I've already done? Or is this going to help me evolve as a person, and like as a friend, as a sister, as a daughter, so on? Yeah.
And did you already have those like rubrics that early, like the 4 questions I must ask before, or is it more like a gut feel?
This is really interesting because I met a friend, Simon, yesterday, and he's telling me about how his therapist told him that we should make less decisions out of like rational feeling, out of rationality, but make more decisions based on how good it makes you feel. And my friends have always known me to be this person that's like chasing like what feels good. Like I'm always chasing a feeling, right? Like whether it's having a second coffee of the day, or ordering like a third like cocktail, or eating like too much chocolate cake. I think that the good feeling is that instinctive, like intrinsic thing that I'm striving towards, and it gets more apparent when I'm meeting people. So I must have a good feeling about you before I decide that, okay, I think this is an opportunity. And I'll speak a bit more on that. So my whole thing with interviews, like growing up, like whether it was admissions interviews or like job interviews, my whole perspective was, it's not just you interviewing me. Like I am checking out what your vibe is.
Yeah.
And if I just don't like you, I don't think you're respectful of time, I think you're not engaging, then sorry, you don't make me feel good about being here. So stuff like Nathalie and I, when we first met, it was a really awkward, like the first ever interview that we had, because she didn't get like full information on why she was speaking with me. Right, so we
This
both
was for
show
a different
up.
role.
A
to
different
start.
role.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was interviewing her.
For like an account role or something. And we were meeting at a different level. But we went back, and I think more conversations happened like internally, and also, me with the recruiter. The second time we met, it was like, okay, this is something, like this is someone. And I remember I go back to my sister and I tell her, hey, I think this person could be someone that I really would benefit from working with, and like, just spending time with. And she says like, yeah, it just sounds like you feel good about this person. So yeah, feeling good, it's so like underrated.
Yeah, actually. Do you have a similar experience?
No, I just wanted to add like this. It's so funny. So what she said, like at interviews, is the same. Like I don't really get nervous because for me, I'm interviewing. If I'm qualifying, if this is the job that I want to do. But I think this is from the same level of confidence that we have, where you are lucky to have me. And when I hired her, she actually said, "Lucky you." When she accepted the job, she was like, "Lucky you."
So life decisions, Nathalie, like what drives you? How do you know it's right?
So
like,
again, like this I think it's similar. I think we have a stronger understanding of ourselves, what we like, what we believe in. So decisions are not debilitating. I know some people who just cannot make a decision. Where I'm like, yep, up to me. This is where we're going. But also, I feel like then there's the humility to say, if that was wrong, oh, that was the wrong decision. We pivot. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's the same. I have my list, obviously, and then I have people that I trust to ask, what do you think? And Joe is one of those people, my husband, and he always ends his advice with, I know you're gonna do whatever you want to do anyway, so why are you asking me? Always, he would say, this is what I think you should do. And then, but yes, in the end, like I always go with like what I think, how I, and how I feel about it.
yeah, I like that in you. That's the American in you.
What?
Like,
Which
what do you
part?
think? I don't like it.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, it just saves so much time. I have gotten softer, like in terms of my delivery. Are you talking about when you ask me something and I just go, yeah, nope. No,
Radical candor, guys.
radical candor.
Was there a time where you felt like a rookie again? Like in my case, it was like going to business school. Oh my God. So after making like, 5 movies and so many commercials, my parents were like, yeah, we think you need to get a real job. And like, motherfucker, I made 5 movies. How this is not a real job? But both my parents, I guess you talking about generational pressure, right? My dad's a businessman. My mom is an entrepreneur, etc., and doctor. So went to business school, and suddenly you're you have to do IRR and financial statements and all of these things and accounting and whatever. And it just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm just a rookie again. Is that something that you guys ever faced?
I like feeling like a rookie.
Yes.
And do you know what? I feel like I use it to my advantage. Either to manipulate, to persuade, or to, confuse. Because I just feel like when I'm always in that mindset where I want to learn and that there are people who are like way more capable, way more, I mean, okay, capability aside, but you've got so much more experience. And I just feel like I have so much to gain just by being, in your presence or, just like interacting with you. That being a rookie for me means that I can absorb rather than, be the smartest person in the room, which is sometimes it's of no value. It's great for people, but doesn't really do much like, long-term value. So I do like adopting a rookie mindset. What can be, I guess, debilitating is walking into a room. So a lot of networking events that we go to, right? Number one, so many men. And number two, they're all really old, much older than I am. And number three, you can sort of see like where cliques are forming, like how people are gathered, like who's listening and who's speaking. That's when, it's your identity, but also when you start thinking of yourself as, oh, I'm the rookie, I'm like the new one, I'm like the younger one. That can become isolating when you self-eliminate. Yeah.
Nice. Did you ever feel like a rookie?
Yeah, I think we had this networking event when this person was talking to us, maybe like thinking we're account managers, and I was like, oh no, I'm the chief growth officer of this agency. Like, oh, it was.
Yeah.
I guess maybe we present ourselves that way, like unassuming.
Yeah.
We don't walk into a room thinking I'm the shit. And then, I think it is to our advantage. Sometimes it isn't. I've seen that. I've walked into a room with my CEO and they thought I was his assistant.
Yeah.
He was really like, oh, can you figure out the scheduling?
Whoa.
That's being a woman.
Yeah.
And I think particularly our height has something, because you feel like this petite woman.
Yeah,
We're cute.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that builds resilience.
But that brings us to the end, basically, of this.
The
of
end
this episode. So
already.
fun, right?
This was really fun.
Yeah. This is being a rookie, both of you. This is your first ever podcast, is this?
Yes, actually, first
it is.
podcast.
How does it feel? It's fun.
It's good. I think I like, because we're still also getting to know each other in a different way. So like for me, it's like treating it as, let me ask more questions about, this
conversation.
person. I wanted to ask this actually, because, in the beginning we said like, I connected us three.
Yeah.
What did you think of each other?
Hate him.
I love Michelle. I adore. I was, it's so funny though. Like when you first introduced us, like Michelle was like, so what are your thoughts on the strategy of like, I'm like, wait, this feels like an interview. I thought this is like gonna be like, hey, nice to meet you. What's up? How are you? And I was like,
That's me.
oh
Yes,
yeah,
that is Michelle.
That is me.
Yeah, so much fun. And you're awesome. And can't wait to get to know you more. And on that note, this has been the beginning of Self-Made.
Self-made.
Yeah, a Saya podcast. And we will be talking more about Saya in the future. But do check the website out, saya.agency. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.